Hey, what's up everyone? Got a new video. Is it a tip video? I don't know if this is a tip video. I really don't know. It's a video though about what I like to do and how I view hooks, mainly treble hooks. Show you the setup maybe and why I do change my treble hooks. Now, this is not a video where I'm trying to sit there and tell y'all need to change all the hooks on all your baits before you go out there. I'm not telling you to do that. Now, I do it to a degree, but I'm also fishing tournaments. So I'm willing to spend a little bit of money to make a lot more money, right? If you're just going out there fun fishing, I'm not gonna sit there and tell you you gotta change out every single hook on every one of your baits, right? You can, you can't, it's kind of your call. Now, you do, or you will eventually have to change out hooks. And I'm gonna tell you why, right? Like you fish long enough, you're gonna have to change out hooks. So you're eventually gonna have to buy some treble hooks to replace some hooks, whether they become rusty or whatever might happen to them, they bend. I'll explain all that. But I'll give you the one thing when I was really young, I'll never forget it. I was out there fishing on Livingston off the bank. And man, I bought worms from Oshman's for 8 cents a piece, right? I had my rod, might have thrown an ugly stick at the time, I don't know, some 20-pound trilene, big game, old Shimano, whatever I had. The least of my worries was the hook, right? It was just my regular offset hook. It's just a regular hook. Well, man, I'm young. I hook a big one. I see it. It jumps 2 or 3 times. It's the biggest fish I've ever had on at the time. It was probably an 8 or 9 pounder, maybe closer to 10 on Livingston, which is almost unheard of. And she comes off. And I get my hook back and it's got this little bit of bend in it, just a little bit. And I sat there and I sat there and tried to save $1 on a hook, right? I'm not saying that the hook was $1 more, but like overall in a package. So there I was, the kind of young kid, biggest fish in my life. And just by me just making that little mistake of not really going after the best hook, I think it cost me. I know for a fact it cost me at the time. And I sat there and vowed I didn't care how much it was going to cost me. I was like, I'm never going to put on a hook that's not good, because that's one of the lifelines of me like catching a fish or landing it or not. And so I from that day on, I was like, I'm going to take that so much more serious. And I always have, right? Because even in fun fishing, it only takes that one fish, right? I mean, y'all's been fishing your whole life and you get that one fish on. And if you skimp a little bit, whether it be on your line, your rod, your hook, whatever it might be, man, I just didn't want that feeling ever again. Like it wasn't worth it to me, right? I was going to figure out how to spend that extra 30 cents or 50 cents or $1 to get something better. I just was. Not everyone's like that, I get it. But for me, that's when I changed. That's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the time to do it right. And I'm gonna make sure whether I spend the money or whatever it is. Now, treble hooks, right? Treble hooks is that one that's like, when I lose a fish, I don't mind losing a fish when I think I did everything right, okay? So if I have the right rod, the right line with the right hooks and everything's going right and I fight it the right way and I do everything right and I lose it, I'm not upset, right? You're gonna lose some fish. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to minimize that. And if y'all have seen my videos, guys, I made a lot of videos on a lot of tournament fishing stuff, right? And I bring up the tournament fishing stuff for a reason, because if I was just out there fun fishing, I could like not show you the times I lose a fish, right? But in tournaments, I show y'all everything, right? I'm gonna show you all a lost fish. And I've shown some, but I show y'all very few. I don't lose very many. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't. I take pride in that. So that's why I don't mind telling y'all the right rod, the right line, the right hooks and all that stuff, because like I'm showing y'all that in my footage of the videos, that like there's the proof that it works. There's the proof that I'm not showing y'all 4 or 5 fish misses, right? I'm not doing that. So here's my thought about treble hooks. I throw owners, and for the most part I throw these, right? Now I used to throw Stinger trebles all the time, okay? That's what I used to throw until owner came out with the Zoe wires. Now the Zoe wires, I'll show them to you, right? They're silver, okay? They kind of look like a saltwater hook. I get it. it didn't bother me at first, but man, when growing up, black hooks were for freaking freshwater, silver hooks were for saltwater, right? I mean, that was just like, if you wanted to know what bait caught what fish, just look at the hooks, right? If it was silver, it was saltwater bait. Now, I've gone over y'all with the bait deal on like, fish don't know it's a saltwater bait, right? I don't want to get into that. That's a whole nother video. I think I've made it before. I've talked about it where I like, fish don't know that those are saltwater baits, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to stay on track, focus on hooks. So those are the hooks, okay? I throw the Zowire treble hooks almost exclusively for everything. Now, they have different kinds, right? They have this, which is the STX 38ZN, and if you see that X plus, right? The 45 ZNs, see that 2X plus. Those are 2 times stronger than those. I don't know if they're 2 times stronger, but they are stronger, right? Now, what's the difference? I honestly throw more of the 2X than the regular. Now, if I'm throwing like jerk baits or something light and something where I'm not trying to like really lean into them, or I'm not fighting them with a rod that's really going to put a lot of pressure on them, I'll go with those. Okay, so definitely jerk baits and things like that. Now the difference is, this is what I want to talk about, I've been throwing a topwater a lot. I'm gonna have a lot of topwater videos popping up. Okay, just telling you, if y'all don't believe me, look at this topwater. Okay, now you can see the teeth marks are insane on it. Now you're gonna be like, well, that's not teeth marks on the bottom. I get that, but that's the way a topwater should look like. And the reason a topwater should look like that, because that's how much I've been throwing it. That's how much, I mean, we're talking about hours, 50, 60, 70 hours over the past, that's a lot of hours, guys, fishing, of just popping that thing, right? And them hooks hitting them on it. Well, a couple things happen when that happens, right? I don't care how good hooks are, right? The tips on these hooks over a day or two, hitting this, scraping that paint off, they're going to get dull. It's just gonna happen. That's one of the reasons why I have to change the hooks. Like I said, treble hooks aren't always for changing out stock hooks. It's just, that's gonna happen, okay? We've been fishing a lot of tournaments. Other than the Bassmaster Opens, I'm allowed to use nets. You wanna talk about bending hooks? That's how you bend hooks, nets. Nets are the quickest way to bend a hook, and here's why. When you go net a fish, chances are the hook's gonna grab the net. It's gonna create pressure from the fish that's in the net, and it's gonna usually bend, right? So the hook grabs it, the fish is still on the bait, and you go down there and like lift them up, no big deal, right? What do we care? We're just trying to net the fish, get them in the boat. If that hook's part of the net, then you've got one hook holding all that pressure at a weird angle. It's gonna bend it. It happens all the time. Like, I always check my hooks after I net a fish, because that's usually where the bend happens. It's rarely on the fight. Now, if you notice, I've got it on braid. Almost all my topwaters on braid. There's a couple reasons for that. If you haven't seen my topwater video, I talk about why braid is so important when I topwater fish. I'm not going to get into that, but I also, braid bends treble hooks quicker, okay? So now I do have my setup for a lot lighter rod, and I have my drag set on this reel pretty light. Like, you'll hear my drag a lot. And when I'm fighting fish on braid, because I don't want that, if they make that surge or that pull, I want it to give, because if not, those hooks will bend. So that's when I throw 2X a lot, right? So these are all 2X hooks. Now, are they oversized? Yes. These are all number 3s. You can put number 4s are usually what come on it. Number 2s you can use, but 2s are they're not too big. Here's the problem. None of it messes up the action. So it's not an action thing. What it does is, and I think I can do this, maybe. What it does is, these two can't. These two are almost impossible. Those two, they can, but they almost never get hung up. These are the ones, the back two are the ones that can possibly get hung up, okay? The front one almost, that never gets hung up with the middle one, just these two. But we're talking, say I throw this, that might happen once an hour. So that's not even a big deal. I want bigger hooks on there. I want to be able to lean into them harder. I want stronger hooks. It's on braid. I'm gonna get good penetration. So I want these big old hooks. I want when a fish comes up there, a better chance of doing that right there, of just getting sticky, getting hung up. Now, if you have not tried the Zowire hooks, they're the craziest. You just saw, they're the craziest, stickiest, pointiest. It's insane. With that though, when you make the sharpest hook point, they also become duller quicker because they're so sharp. I don't care about changing hooks. I'll change them 2 or 3 times a day if I have to, if they're going to be as crazy, sharp, sticky as these possible. Now, luckily, they make them in all sizes. So this is kind of my box. I don't keep them in there. It's a lot easier to put them here and I label them. So like there's my 3, my number 3s, 2X. I got all kinds of stuff in here. Number 4s, they have number 2s. Those are the regular stingers. I mean, I got 5s, more 2s. I use a lot of 2s. 1s regular. Some of those are 1s in there too. And I mark them either 2X or the regular. Sometimes I marked them 38 because the 38s are the regular ones, and the 45s are the 2X. So on my 6XDs, I throw nothing but 2s. They work perfect. 2s already come on there, and that's what I'm throwing on my 6XD. My 5XD, okay, I've got number 4s on there. Jerk baits, I throw usually number 4s, but I can also put 5s on there. Like I will do, that's what's cool. Owner makes 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s. That combination will pretty much fit everything you have. I mean, everything. And I don't really worry. People are like, hey, what do you put on that bait? Here's my thought process on this. I go usually as big of a hook as I can get away with, okay? I don't ever want it. It usually never affects the action of the bait. What it does is you have to worry about the hooks hanging each other. If the hooks hang each other to a point where it's annoying, like it's too much, then they're too big of hooks. There's some short shank hooks too that you can get away with. I just like those hooks as far away from the bait as possible because of short strikes or anything like that. I want those hooks freely flowing away from the bait to where if they come up there and they don't grab it all the way, there's a chance they're going to get that hook in them. That's my theory on all that. That's my thought process. So it's just about them not messing up. They are not going to, I could put number 1s on the 6XD and it's really not going to mess up the action, okay? I mean, you can obviously go way overboard, but if you're worried about it, just put them on there. If the hooks don't hook up and it looks normal, go with bigger rather than smaller, okay? I want a bigger hook. It's gonna hook them better. You're gonna bend it less. There's a lot of different advantages for a bigger hook. And when I say bigger, it's probably the right size hook that's made for it. I'm just saying if you're worried about going, it should be a 4 or a 5. Well, if it looks right with the 4 and they don't hang up, it's probably meant for a 4, okay? But I use the 5 and 3s a lot more. They used to not have those. But now these baits, we're making them in so many sizes, so many. I mean, you can't just go get away with the 2, 4, and the 6 anymore. I use the 3 and the 5 a lot. So, yeah, that's what I got. That's my treble hook deal. That's my treble hook tip video for y'all. I don't want to go on any longer. That's it. Mess around with it. Get on there. If you're still unsure, comment. I'll try to help y'all out. I'll try to get on here, answer some of the things like, hey, what do you think about this? But if you got any more questions. But for right now, that's it, guys. See y'all out there. Be looking for my top water video. Those are the best ones. Those videos are fun. And it's going to be a lot of this bad boy. I promise. All right. See y'all, guys.